Alright, good afternoon everyone. Coach Lees is here. Coach, a couple big weekends. Beat the Huskies 2 weeks ago, and then you go on the road and beat the defending champion Utah Utes last weekend in Salt Lake. Bunch of good pitching performances and timely hitting. Cal Waterman with a big hit on Saturday to clinch it. But talk about last weekend and the win over Utah.
Well, it was an easy one, that's for sure. We got there, and a little different schedule and routine for us, as we had to play at 11:30 each day, so kind of had to reorganize that. The weather was not, I guess now I can say it was accommodating, but it wasn't great the first couple days, but we did a good job of getting through it. Faced a very good pitcher on Friday night with Rose. We left some base runners on. In fact, we actually had as compared to some other teams, had a very good approach against him. Just couldn't get that one knock that we needed. That, I think could have put us ahead 2-1 or, at that time. But Damon Jones just did a fine job. Another very good outing for him that has allowed us to have, now we'll start on a Friday night with 2 good starts. It allows us to use our pen the way we need to. It allows us to use the starters the way we need to. It allows us to match up and do the things we need to do out of the pen left and right. So getting 5 innings out of our pitchers this weekend as far as quality starts was very good for us. It was good to go in a direction that we can get better. That if we can continue those types of starts and give our offense a chance to get going, we can really make a good run by the end of this year.
A couple young guys that came up big in that series. Isaac Mullins with 5 no-hit innings in the start, the middle game there. Cal Waterman with the big hit, 2-run double on Saturday's clincher, and then Dylan Plew with an RBI hit in 5 straight games. Talk about the young guys over this last month.
Well, Coach Spencer's been very high on Mullins now for this whole year, trying to get him some time, whether it be on Tuesdays or an inning here or a hitter there, and he was outstanding. I can't say anything more about that. I know I'm talking to their coach the next day. They felt like they were confused by everything he threw. And so, we're hoping that we can build on that for him. Cal Waterman has continued throughout the whole year to do a very good job behind the plate, and now he's starting to click a little bit, hit at the plate as well. Had some very big hits for us. Inning that started the whole 7-run inning was a ball up the middle, and then he was able to break it open with the bases loaded, a double down the line. So that really helped us get going. And Dylan Plew is, he is probably one of the better freshman hitters I have been around. Sees the ball very well. He has a good pulse about him. He can hit left and right. He can bunt. He can hit and run. He can show a little bit of power at times. Still some things defensively that we are working to improve. Shows flashes and signs of being a high-end defender, and then other times he kind of takes a pitch off and doesn't show what he can do. So those are things that are in work, in progress, and I feel very confident about that.
You mentioned a little bit earlier, but pitching coach Dan Spencer kind of got the bullpen with some new looks this last weekend. Walker's back in the pen. You saw him twice, and then you had some big performances from A.J. Block and Parker McFadden. What did you see from the bullpen last weekend?
Well, it was the key, and when Spencer's trying to build that staff, he's always liked to build it from the back forward, but we never knew what to expect, for quite a while from each kid. But I think he's got it right where he wants now. You've got our starters are taking us 4 to 6 innings. We're able to match up with Dupree and Walker and Sunich and Neely, and then you add A.J. Block to it for a hitter, which it was I felt like something in my gut about the time he got out there, just because of who was on, who was up, and the whole bit. But AJ did a really nice job, and then Parker McFadden, Spence made that call as well. It really felt like it was time to see. They've been seeing 86 to 90 the whole weekend, and if there was a time, to come and let it rip, I felt like Parker was the right guy to do it, and he just did a really good job. So all in all, I thought it was a very good team effort by everybody to recover from Thursday night, the way that we hung in there, should have, could have, and that type of thing, and then for our kids to turn right back around the next day and say, you know what, we can beat this kid here. Let's put some runs on the board, give ourselves a little breath of fresh air. And then they came in on Saturday and continued to have a very good approach at the plate, pitch very well, and ultimately winning the series.
Now you come into this weekend, you're back home for the next 2 weekends actually, but Oregon comes in this weekend. Obviously Peterson, the Friday night starter, coming off a 20 strikeout performance last week. What do you know about the Ducks, or talk a little about the Ducks and them coming into Pullman for graduation weekend?
Yep. I know Coach Horton's running the offense now. They've shown signs of having a much better offense than they've had in recent years. Their pitching is at the front is very, very good. They've also got a closer who's one of the best freshmen in the country for sure. And so we're going to have we're going to work cut out for us. David Peterson's going to be a first-round draft pick without a doubt. He's coming off a very good weekend where he's excited, and he's turned into a pretty good leader for him. After the weekend before, they didn't have the success they wanted. I think it was evident that he was going to put that team on his back and say, just dig in here and follow me. So David Peterson's going to be a real challenge. And then they followed by Matt Mercer, who is also a very good pitcher, a right-handed pitcher. So just in those two, they are two of the better pitchers in the league. And, everybody's fighting for something.
Shane Matheny's numbers are up considerably, both his average and his power. What did he do this offseason? What have you seen from him that kind of jumpstarted that improvement?
Well, he's a little more mature. He's got more ABs than anybody on this team as far as Division I ABs. Felt like we did a couple things at the plate as far as his box adjustment and things like that. But I think his is just confidence, being older, seeing this type of pitching now going into his third year. And he's a very tireless, hard worker. He's not satisfied with just being okay. If he feels like he has a bad game or a bad series or a bad AB, he's working before and working after, try and figure something out so he can contribute. But he's done a very good job this year.
You mentioned his maturity. Did you notice a change in him when he came back from the summer leagues and coming into his upperclassmen years, that he had changed in that regard?
No, I felt like he made a change about halfway through the season last year, as far as what, just his mentality, how he's going to approach it. He's been a high-end defender here for 3 years. The year prior, to be getting here, he was a good defender then, and then last year he made another improvement, and he continues to make strides there. So all in all, when you have a third baseman who's a junior on a corner, it's good. Helps your team.
Well, and with what you've been able to do on the base paths and with the way Dylan and those guys are doing on base, how critical has it been to have him where he is in the lineup and performing like he has?
In regards to Dylan?
In regards to Shane.
Well, we've had to maneuver the batting order around a little bit, trying to figure out, Rudkin's been good. He's a good one to follow Shane because he's got a very good eye, and people were kind of pitching away from Shane or intentionally walking him, and so it's nice to have that a bat right behind him to be able to do that. So I think some guys in front of Shane were getting some pretty good pitches to hit because he was on deck and allowed for some base runners there. And then if there was a base open, then he would kind of get pitched around or intentionally walk like he did against the Huskies. And then you have a kid follow him in Rudkin who's able to do some damage because, he's ready for it. So, I think, just having him in the middle of the lineup, and, last year he hit between 7 and 9, and we were bunting him with 1 out so that we could, there would be a positive outcome of it. And this year, you just see what a difference a year makes in a kid as they mature and grow and see and do things.
And then finally, with so many underclassmen contributors at the plate, has he played much of a role in their development as sort of an older voice, as someone to kind of counsel them?
I would hope so. I think that they would be the kids to ask about that. But by the way he works, by how important it is to him, I would think that those things, do bleed in and do, catch on to others.
Thank you. Have you decided starters for the weekend yet?
Yeah, we're going to start Damon Jones on Friday. We're going to leave it TBA on Saturday right now. We don't know who we're going to pitch. We'll see, get through Friday, and then we're going to keep Cody Anderson throwing on Sunday.
What improvements have you seen Damon Jones past couple weeks? He's really pitched much better.
Well, he's been more aggressive. He's been able to throw 3 pitches for strikes and not strikes. He pitched at the bottom of the zone. He's been had a little bit more courageous, a little more confident. When you do those things, you have a chance. Bobby, did I say Anderson's starting Saturday?
Okay.
No. That's it.
Damon
Right.
to be announced, Anderson.
Yeah, okay, Damon to be announced, Anderson, yeah.
Did you think coming out of the bullpen for a few weeks really helped Damon?
I don't know. I don't know. We've had big dreams for Damon, since the last 5 games he pitched last year. And I wish it would have clicked earlier, because that's the way we felt about him the whole time. But in the meantime, we had to get some other guys in and see what we could do. And I'm just glad he appears to be and seems to be back on track.
Did you think beginning of the season that Cal would be in the role that he is in now, starting catching about every day?
Well, we were going with the 2-catcher deal pretty much the whole season, and Corey showed some signs of doing some very good things behind the plate, and he's he's getting better as well. But Cal has been a little bit better at the plate, very solid defensively, and I don't think they had a stolen base last weekend, did they? And won the weekend before. Yeah, so between the pitchers and and our 2 catchers, they've done a really good job of controlling the running game.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
All right.